We're going to talk about, you're going to learn, you're going to see firsthand how to close the deal. Got a couple of awesome closers here. And as part of tonight's event, to finish it off there, we've got Pretty Boy Matt Snade is going to make some calls, cold calls actually. He's going to call some for sale by owner off of KSL or Craigslist or wherever we've got. And we'll see what happens. Anybody here the last time we did that? You guys remember? It was about probably, I guess maybe 3 years ago. Misty Mackey and I did that. It was pretty funny because you learn that the early bird gets the worm. Because I set up 2 appointments, and one of them in Utah County, this guy was like, yeah, I'd be interested, and yeah, I'd consider seller financing and at this price. And I went and walked him all the way through the whole deal there, only to find out that one of you, Aaron Wagner, rushed down there and met with them. He knew I was meeting at 10, so he met with them at 9 and signed him up. But that's all right. He made me a bunch of money on my next deal, so that was a good thing. But it's a good thing. There's a lot of good information here. Who has done their first deal this month? Anybody has done the first deal this month? Oh, please stand up and tell us about your first deal. Yay! Give us your name, too.
Lisa Benson.
Lisa Benson.
We went up. There's a little house in West Valley I bought. Bought for about $120,500, sold it for $190,000, put about $25,000 into it, I profit about $20,000. So.
Nice. How long did it take you?
3 months from the day from the purchase to the time of
Money in your bank.
Right.
Nice. And did you use hard money, or you used hard money? Good. What were your hard money rates that you paid?
I used Source One.
Okay.
He gave me 100% financing with 2 different lenders.
Okay.
First lender, which Bob, he told me was at $70,000 at 12%. The other guy loaned me the remainder at 18%.
Okay. No, that's good.
But,
You still made $20,000.
yeah.
$20,000 in 3 months, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna that's like $7 grand a month. That's not bad. It's not chump change.
I'm looking for another deal.
So that's awesome. Good. Anybody have a deal? Okay, so if you have a deal, we can stand up. That's awesome. That's a really good deal. And you made money, and this was your first deal.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. I think most of you have heard of my first deal I lost $50,000 on. It was back a long time ago, 30 years ago. But I put everything into it, cash money, did everything wrong. There was no books out, there was no clubs, there was no nothing. And so I just kind of bootstrapped it, and I let myself fall in love with the project. It's kind of a bad thing, isn't it? You fall in love with your project, and you're sitting there going, okay, I think it needs a new sewer system. Nobody's ever going to see that, but looking at it, I thought it needed one, so I did it from sewer to the roof. But I kept at it, because has anybody ever lost money in real estate or investing in anything? A few hands up there, but you're still here. Because if you don't come back and try again, it's just an evil anecdote. Okay, it's just history of your life and something bad. It's not a learning experience. It's only a learning experience when you do something about it. So, first lease to own, that's awesome. And actually, Wes said I put that one under contract. I said it, by the way. Tell me about your lease to own.
Bought it for $200. I figured it's worth closer to $230. Just with less than a week of marketing, 2 open houses, I got it leased out for $7,000 non-refundable down, and leased it out for $1,350 a month. And the agreement that they'll pay no less than $222,500 for it, or whatever it appraises for when they're ready to buy it. And it's probably at least in 2 years.
That's good. That's cash. That's probably. What are you looking at as far as if you sell in 2 years? What do you think you're?
I'll make about minimum about $22,000.
$22,000. That's what I was saying, about $20,000. So that's really good. So that's awesome. There's a lot of ways to make money here. A lot of ways to do it. My second deal I made over 100 grand on. Last week, after expenses, I closed 2 transactions, which netted about $270,000, not counting the wholesales that I did. And there's a lot that is possible in this business. And do you think I took that money and went to Vegas?
No.
Absolutely not. I did not. I'm a pretty simple guy. I like to live on about $5 grand a month, to be honest. So I took a big chunk, put it in savings, paid off business debt, bought another building, bought another house or 2. So, a couple of those kind of things is kind of fun to do. But you should have some milestones, some things that make you excited, some things that you look at and you go, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm getting up today and getting out of bed. What gets you out of bed, man?
On some days it's work, and other days it's golf.
Golf. So you probably have a pretty good set of golf
And
clubs.
then other days travel.
Travel, okay. For me, it's travel. And I've got a big project that I'm working on now out of the country that has really got me excited. I won't tell you about it now, but I'll tell you maybe in a month or 2. But it's, I feel like a new man. I'm out there looking at stuff and thinking, life is exciting. Life should be exciting. This is a great business. People always ask me, what kind of money can you make in real estate? Well, what kind of money can you make in real estate? You just make $20,000 there, $20,000 here. What's possible?
Much of those you really work.
Yeah, who said that? Oh, right up there. Yeah, as much or as little as you're willing to work for. This is a business, and I tell people, some people say, should I be an agent, should I be an investor? I really enjoy the investment side a lot more than the agent side. How many of you are agents and brokers? Got a few in there. You ever deal with any whiny people on the other side? I've got 100 agents, and so that means that like on 100 transactions, I'm dealing with a lot of whiny people. At least on some side of the transaction. I enjoy the investor side a lot more because it pays a lot more. But either one of those career paths will make you 100 grand in year 1. Okay, this is one of the few things that you can do year 1. And it is not a mystery. It is not a secret. There's no secret formula. There's no, secret recipe that you have to do. Pretty much you just have to work, and it's pretty simple. If an agent asks me what I need to do to be successful, I said, what's successful? I want to close every month. Okay, of all my agents, the one thing you do is you've got a prospect, meaning one-on-one, face-to-face contact, communication with a potential client. If you do that 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, you will close twice a month, every month. I don't have anybody that doesn't close twice a month that does that. And the same thing is true with being an investor. Michelle, how many appointments do you go to each week?
Ooh, 10.
10, okay. And how many of those do you close?
7.
7. That's a really good close. That's good. That's right where you should be. It's tough because you're buying them cheap enough that you can wholesale them on to somebody else that's going to rehab them. Okay. And so there's a step. So closing 7. So your closing ratio should be between 70 and 90%. And that's typically what you're looking at is, between 70 and 90%. As an agent, it should be 90%. As a wholesaler, 70% is really good, actually. 50% is not bad, but 70% is really good. And so these are things that anybody can do, and I have gone to all the training. I've spent $150,000 on investor training, a bunch on agent training, just so that I knew what I was doing. I never really went to college. I had 18 months. I had 18 months at school. Sometimes too much college. The only guys that really have a hard time learning this business are engineers. Do we have any engineers in here? Okay. All right. You should come see me. The only guys that I really had a hard time with, my father-in-law is an engineer. I've got a couple other guys over the years I worked with. But you just have to hire somebody to do the things you don't do well. That's what it is. But it's something that it doesn't matter. You got to get educated, but it doesn't matter if you got a college degree. You don't even have to be smart on this one. You just got to get out there and do it. And so we're going to learn about it. We're going to see firsthand tonight. Michelle is going to talk to us. She's going to show us how she closes 7 and 10 deals, and then we'll cover a few other things. So let's have a big round of applause.
I can use it. Can everyone hear me?
Can they hear me without it?
My name is Michelle Pacific, and I actually am from California. I moved here about 6 years ago. And my background is in psychology and social behavior, and I also have an MBA. So I came from the business background in Fortune 500 corporate America companies. I did outside sales for many years. So that's kind of how I got into sales is kind of interesting. So I did my internship actually counseling people, and I realized that being in an office and helping people with problems that you can't really control was not for me. So I kind of wanted to go out and feel control my day better. And so I worked at a private investigative firm, which I'm going to fast forward really quick to get into the background. And I realized really quickly that the people that are making the money are working less hours and they're out in the field and they're able to live their lives and what it is. So I wanted to sign up for that. And I decided to look into, everyone's like, I'm going to do sales and all I have to do. So I thought it was like a car salesman that push you to buy something that you don't want to buy, right? That was my mentality of sales. And then throughout the years, I took the plunge, went into outside sales, and I never looked back because really you control your future. And I don't know about you, but for me, that's exciting. If I want to make a certain amount of money, I can back out all the activity I need to get there, and then I have a goal, and then I can calculate my closing ratio, right? And then based on that, I can decide exactly how much I want to make, and then I back to the activity and write it in my Monday through Friday, and then you get your goals. So that being said, I wanted to take it even further. So here I am in sales for like 7, 8 years, and I was doing where I was motivated more by the fun trips we went on. So if you hit Circle of Excellence, they sent you to like Bahamas for like 10 days, all expenses paid with your friends. So I did that year after year, and to be honest, I was at the beach at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in California almost every day, and I was getting my numbers, because I focused on the closing ratio, right? Because really, you could be pounding the pavement and being on the phone for many, many hours, and then going in these live appointments, many of them, and still not closing any deals, right? So when they asked me to speak at our sales conference, they said, I want you to speak on closing because your closing ratio is very high because you have to write down all your appointments and how many close. And I racked my brain as to what I'm going to say because I really didn't think I did anything special. The only thing I could think of is that my background in psychology and social behavior is I'm really good with people and I understand people. So I think I use that a lot in my selling techniques every day. And in other words, I just let the person do the talking and I just listen. And it turns out to becoming a sale eventually, if you just listen properly. But I think a lot of the times what I saw some of the sales reps do throughout the years, especially the ones that struggled, they would focus on hitting their numbers, so they almost had a desperation and nervousness about them. And so they would be on the appointments and they're almost like telling people what they needed to do. Oh, I think you need to do this. And they're acting a certain way. Because I would watch some of the new people because they've gone live on. And I'm like, how do I tell them that that just turns people off? Like that guy was like scooting away and saying he had 5 minutes. The sales rep kept talking. I only have 2 more minutes. The sales rep talked 8 more minutes. I noticed a lot of these different things when I was in sales. And so when I moved here to California, I actually moved with the job to be the director of business development to hire a sales team out here. That's what brought me to California. And what I found working at the company is that I felt like I needed to start my business doing business coaching. And all the things that I found important that I felt business owner or sales rep, whether it's a small business owner trying to grow their business, it could be someone who's opening a car wash, to an attorney who needs more clients, to a CPA. Ultimately, every single professional out there or small business owner, I feel like they must be good at persuading people to buy what they're selling or use the services that they have, right? So I created a program that I felt was the most important things that were lacking with a lot of these businesses. So mind you, I worked at Paychex, so I set up about 40 new businesses a month. So I got to talk to a lot of people, and most of their challenges all boils down to, I don't know how to bring the client in the door. And so there's knocking on doors, telemarketing, or you can market yourself on the internet, right? Those are like 3 ways that you can bring business. But for outside sales reps, we had to just telemarket and knock on doors. So I created a program. The most important part is I'm going to do with you guys today because I feel like it's probably, if you can learn this piece, which is personality assessments and talking to people based on who they are, not who you are, does that make sense? So you're a type A personality, you talk very fast and loud. Someone who's more of an introvert would get uncomfortable with you if you acted like that on the set, right? So I decided to take my background in that and start doing personality assessments. So before I work with any of my clients, I would do personality assessments. And they loved this part because for me, it helped me be able to learn how to work with each particular client I have, right? I'm not going to set up, each way that I set up the structure for how I'm going to work with them would be different based on their personality. So I found this very useful and helpful, especially when we went to sales and closing. We could do the closing to the 4 different types of personalities and then talk about how to maximize your time. So for example, we could do a lot of role playing. And I would show them, did you know that the person lost eye contact and the body language turned and you kept talking, like, it's like those little things that people don't really notice that makes a huge difference. And so today I'm going to pass out this personality assessment to you guys. I hope you guys have fun with this. But we're going to take it, it's only going to take probably about 8 minutes. So if you want to help me pass that up, or I think you should. Did someone pass them up? Yep. Okay. Sorry about the bad print job, but if you guys flip over to section 1, I'm going to quickly go over this so we can start and then we'll go quickly. So basically you're given a, does everyone have a pen? Okay. I'll wait for you. How many of you guys, do you need one? We have them right now. How many of you guys have taken a personality assessment before, like a DISC? Okay. Great. So this will just be another tool for you. Yeah. So until we get the pens, let me go. I wanted to talk a little bit about negotiating sales. I think it's really interesting when people say, I don't sell, or I don't like to sell, or I can't sell, or I don't know what to say to people, because I have found in every single profession, whether it's a chiropractor or it's a waitress, like trying to get her tip, you have to sell yourself. You have to present yourself well, and you have to get people to, relate with you and like you. And unfortunately, right when someone sees you, they're already putting you in a bucket of how they perceive you, right? They're like, oh, she's wearing this color, or oh, he looks like this, or that person's part of a professional because they're wearing tennis shoes, or we all have our little things that we're constantly saying in our heads when we're looking at someone. And unfortunately, we can't go against that, but I will tell you that all of you that have raised a toddler, right, you know that from really young, we have negotiating in our blood. Like we just are like that. No, you can't have that. Yes, I can. I have to. No, you can have one. No, what for you? The little kids just negotiate with you back and forth. Like, I feel like I didn't teach my son that. He's just naturally like that. And somewhere along the way, as we get older, it's like our spirits get a little bit dull, We go through some times where maybe, we're faced with adversity and we didn't come out of that as strong as we like to. And a lot of people don't think that talking to someone, or being with a counselor or a coach or someone who can help motivate you is important, but it really is. But sometimes it's just good against the road. When you're out there like driving around looking for deals, it's always nice to have someone to bounce off of. So if you don't have a mentor or someone that you call on to just bounce some ideas off of, I would encourage you to definitely get that. How are we doing on? Does everyone have a test now? Yeah?
I like how it says don't do it like how you wish you were.
Yeah, so basically, as you're doing this test, please don't answer based on how you wish you were, or what, if I was only like this. Just honestly, how are you in a work setting? Just when you're working or your day-to-day life. So you can get the sequence of questions. Each question has 4 responses. You must divide 12 points among the responses in a manner to describe the what. Okay, so basically 6 points is the answer that's most likely of the 4. And I know it's kind of confusing because you might be like, I'm not like any of these, but just give 6 to the one you're most like, 4 the one that you're second most like, and then 2, and then 0 the one that you're least like of the sequence of 4. So on A, you're going to do together, you're going to put a 6, 4, 2, and 0 on these lines. And you're going to keep doing that all the way till you reach section 2. And then you can stop and then we'll go over how to do section 2. Okay? I'll talk while you guys are doing that. So I bet you're wondering how I ended up, at a SLREIA meeting talking about this stuff and how I'm going out there and negotiating deals on homes. Basically, I worked with Andy McFarland's office. And I just think he's brilliant. Those of you that know Andy McFarland, he's just amazing when I met him. Usually I can sit and kind of say, well, like watch someone in the action when they're closing a deal and how like something I can say, like maybe they could have been a little bit, but Andy, I mean, he's got this stuff down. He's really good at people, naturally. And I go, did you know you're so good? And he's like, no, he's very humble. He's just like, I was just doing myself. I just care about people, But it just shows that he cares, and it's obviously why he's so successful. So when I was watching him, they were trying to find someone from doing their mastermind group who can sell and close and negotiate deals for their company, because Andy is getting overwhelmed doing it himself. And so since I was working with them at the office, and a part of my program is I can help people close deals too. So I ended up doing this for Andy's office, and I've been doing it for like 6, 7 months, and it's awesome because I feel like our team of people know it takes everybody who we work with to make it happen, to allow me to go on the appointment. I feel like they team me up just fine. I just have to go negotiate and talk to the people, which is my favorite part to do, right? So it's a great partnership. That's kind of what I'm doing. We're very busy. I'm driving from one side of the to the other side of the east to the west. I'm always running around. But it's very exciting and fun. It's just like Randall said earlier, we can make quite a bit of money if you start getting good at the closing and negotiating part. In my opinion, it's the most important piece because you don't really need a lot of knowledge, right? So you can always find out a question. If someone has a question you don't know the answer, you can always find it out, right? I don't feel like you really need to be in a certain industry for a lot of years because, quite frankly, I think, and I also think the sales books, they focus on getting people to say yes, getting people to, relate with people 5 times and they go in for the code. I completely take sales in a whole different way. I genuinely just go in there and I don't need to know anything about the person. I just basically let them talk. And if you just listen long enough, you'll get cues as to who they are, first of all, what personality type they are, right? So then you know how to present information to them, right? So that's why we're doing this test, so that we can go that. Are you guys done now? Okay. So how many of you guys are blues in the room? Raise your hand. Just a few blues? Okay. What about greens? Raise your hand. What about yellows? Reds? Oh, that's good. Not too many blues. Okay. So, how many could guess what I am? I'm getting up to it. So, how are we doing? Okay. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to go through, so if you flip over and you look at the blue, okay? This is, all of us have aspects of all the personalities. So, as I'm reading this, just know if your number is highest in blue, you're predominantly blue, right? And of course, you have aspects of other colors. You can be a rainbow and have the same percentage of all the different personalities, and that just means you really get along great with watching. But blues are upbeat and happy. Their priorities are having fun, living for the moment. Their speech patterns are fast and loud, and their appearance is trendy, bright, colorful, and informal. Okay? Their strengths are they're enthusiastic, optimistic, playful, bubbly, animated, and fun. They have huge, hot, warm markets. They're the life of the party. They make others around them happy and relaxed, and they're spontaneous. Their weaknesses. They're terrible with details and follow-up. They tend to talk too much, and worse yet, they do so without thinking. They're chronically late for everything and forgetful. They are the worst savers of all the personalities. They rarely look at the long-term consequences of their short-term fun, and they tend to be indecisive, tend to lie when they get in trouble. So their likes is having fun, partying, they love the spotlight, they love to know they're in the in-crowd and well-liked, they like to make fast cash, they love to dream, they love to shop, love music, dancing, TV, going to the movies, dislikes anyone and anything that doesn't think they're doing that. And I'll let you kind of go through this in detail, but in regards to selling and closing, because I know a lot of you, I'm pretty sure all of you, if not some of you, want to learn how to negotiate and close to get the contract signed, correct? So you guys can become money and talk more people. So the way to tell that you're talking to a blue personality right off the bat is just they're smiling a lot. They're smiling and they're wearing colorful shirts. If you can guess, I'm blue. I'm also yellow, but they're very trendy. Like they're gonna wear the trendy clothes, right? They're gonna have the flowers in their hair for girls, the big earrings, and smile and loud and talk a lot. And if you look at their house, so just to tell a personality without having them speak to you, they have pictures of friends and picture frames. Like they're hugging a friend, they're traveling, they love to travel the world because it's fun. So just think fun. So the way that you sell to a woo is you're going to tell them what you want them to do it nicely, make sure they know it will be fun. So like working with you is fun. You're fun. You get that. They get you. Focus on short-term objectives such as making fast cash. Reassure them you'll be there for them when they need you. Smile and laugh and tell them stories to make your point. So I gave you guys a copy of this. I don't know if I'm time for all of it, but basically, if you can learn to, put the person that you're talking to in somewhat of a, okay, I'm reading them. Oh, okay, they're very, for example, greens. Okay, let's go to greens. Formal questioning. How long is this going to take? I need to call 5 people to figure it out. I need to make some phone calls. I need to think about it. I need to sleep on it. That's a green. Green's like a thing. Greens are accountants, CPAs, people that are good with numbers. Those are our greens. They look at a website, for example. If you tell them, oh, this is a great company, they're going to check the website. They're going to check the mature review, right? The blues aren't. They don't have time. They're just going to be the person and move on. Greens are like that. So give them facts and then leave them alone. Let them look at your website. Present logical reasons for it. So let's move to yellows. Yellows are passive, laid back. They talk very slow. They're earthy. They're very like, oh, I went to volunteer my time for my mom. I love to help people. I volunteer my time to church. Oh, I pick up stray dogs and bring them home. Oh, poor dogs. And everything's just like heartfelt. They just like love people and help everybody. So yellows, they're very sensitive though. So if you just tell them like reds, always offend yellows. Like, well, what other questions do you have? Fine. They're looking like, wait a minute, I'm not working with them. Just tell me the sign.
If you offend yourself, because you're an even match.
Well, sometimes you're red and yellow didn't ask for this, but testimonials show that you genuinely care. And the way you can tell someone's yellow is just those kind of conversations. Like, I volunteer my time, and you should be listening for cues anyway, just to see who you're working with, so you can kind of help them out the best way. Reds. Most sales reps, or a lot of them, tend to be red because reds really look for money. Reds want to be number 1. Reds are like, who's number 4? Even though I'm making a budget 4, I need to be number 1. And I don't want to take, kind of nice car, I need a Ferrari. I'm not going to wear a fake Rolex. The blues are in the fakies, right? They're just like loud and yellow, and you don't have to be sensitive. The reds want the Rolex and the Gucci and the Ferraris, but for the most part, just paint the picture. But reds are very much, they care what others think of them. They really do. They care about being good at work. They care about climbing the corporate ladder and doing a really good job. So reds are natural-born leaders. They're entrepreneurs. They're aggressive, direct. They like to win. They speak fast and loud, just like blues. They're formal, classy, and flashy. Think type A, mover, shaker, and winners. Give them options, not opinions. When you couple reds a lot of their opinions, even though they're the experts, they don't care. They like to have their opinions. They need to pat them on the back. Oh, great idea. Wow. Well, you went to Harvard. You golf. That's amazing. You're good. They like for you to pat their egos a lot. So if you get good at this though, so I'm going to let you guys go, and you guys can read this, you can keep this, and like this is just a little cheat sheet. So if you're telemarketing at the office, or you're going out in the field, or you're gonna go call someone. Just try to, this week, just notice who you're talking to, and remember, this is how they like the information, right? So try to do a little practice run and present the information in different ways based on the different people. And if you have a hard time doing that, the best thing I can tell you to get real is, I will tell you, this week I've been in 2 situations, and about 8 different people were running to get these deals, like, shopping with ladies, like shopping. Right? I have 4 for this tomorrow, and another one. I'm thinking, how did I close down to day 1? I'm like, in my head, is she going to sign me? She did her homework, and she met with 8 people. And follow up is huge, I follow up every day. But there's a real fine line between following up and being on top of it and kind of stopping people, right? And the reason I tell you this is because people have told me that, oh, thank you, you're helping me, but some of my other companies said, Joe, the guy came yesterday, was so pushy, and he was trying to get me to sign up, and I didn't really need it today. So that's why listening is so important. If they're saying, no matter what, and I try to ask this question like, so if we give you the perfect price, is that something you want to do today, or are you still on thinking about it? I always say that. I just say something, kind of like that, to see where they're at. Because I'm never going to just go in for a close if they're not comfortable, right? It's all about them. It's not about me. So I think that's what helps me with my closing ratio. It's just that first of all, I really like people, so it's a part of who I am, naturally. But I do know that we can learn this stuff with practicing, bless you, just practicing and knowing who your audience is, and try your best to not talk. They don't really care about all the details, they really don't. These people are in situations, and their situation calls for someone that cares to listen and present a solution, right? So if you just stay there long enough and listen to all the things that they're saying, eventually you get what you're supposed to hear, like an artist, you're painting a little picture, right? Or they just say, ooh, I can tell they're not on their clothes today, but they really want someone to follow. Oh, this one's not. Just little questions, right? And you're putting it in your arsenal. And when you talk back and you're trying to get them to sign with you, just remember that talk to them based on, first and foremost, their personality type, and secondly, what we just told you. A lot of people that are trying to get deals, they don't listen to anything. And I did a lot of my work with some of my clients, and I'm like a fly on the wall, and I'm sitting there. I just noticed, like, first of all, tell people you're going to be 20 minutes, and at 19 minutes, I have 1 more minute, I don't want to take up your time. Be courteous of their time, too. If they're like turning away and don't keep talking at them. I need you to sign, that's turning them off. And that's probably why they say, oh, I'll call you back. But really, they're going, oh, that guy turned me off. I'm going to go call that one person. So I think that helps me closing deals because I don't have like that. I try to never act pushy, and I put myself in their shoes, right? So I'm them, and I'm going through this, right? My husband just passed away. I don't know much about real estate. What am I thinking, right? So I'm going to talk to them based on me putting myself in their shoes, and it usually works. I mean, they will sign with their company. So getting to that point is just trying to figure out who you're working with and talk to them. And Andy, the partner, will put it up in the book. He's brilliant at this, and that's why he's been so successful. He doesn't even know why he's successful. He's like, oh, I don't know, I just do these things. But he's just naturally that way, He really cares about people. I'll give you a small example of just Andy and Farland and Blue Rocket, the guys that we work with. I was leaving, and these are the little things you can do if you want. But I was leaving a house, and I just signed this elderly couple, right? And they were telling me, my power is going to go off tomorrow. I mean, 80-year-olds in the room here, right? How are we supposed to tomorrow? They're going to take my power tomorrow. And, older people, and I'm really hurt my heart. So, sorry, this is falling. So I immediately just went to the bank and got money, my own money, and came back and just gave it to them. Like nothing. Hello, I don't want them to feel the cold. Like it didn't faze me at all. Because I'm a yellow, right? I get sad for people a lot. But Andy, the minute he heard that, he's like, oh, we have a fund to help people. He's like, absolutely, we're writing you a check for that money you took out. And anyone else that you need to help, we're here. And those are the little things that he does. And that's the reason why I work with him. Like, I wasn't like thinking, one day I'm going to like wholesale houses and go close deals and run all over Utah. But it's the people you work with, right? And if you can close someone on buying, laundry detergent or using your hairstylist to get their hair done, guess what? You're selling all day long. Like people say, I don't sell, I don't know how to talk to people. You are selling. When you're excited about something, you're talking about it. So if you continue keeping that mentality, don't get nervous because they're just a person. And really, don't think, what am I going to say? Because really it's about listening and then pausing and then saying what you think they want you to say. And I promise you, hopefully, if you can learn to do that your closing ratio will go up so you don't feel like you're hitting the wall working so hard and not getting the deals that you guys deserve. And I'm going to end on that. Thank you guys, and I hope that was helpful.
Is there one personality type that's more common than others?
No, they're kind of equal, but I'd say people that do sales, they have to have somewhat of red or blue, because if you're shy and you're uncomfortable on people, it's kind of hard to be in this industry.
I'm just curious, I didn't get to see, how many reds do we have? Okay, we got, how many yellows? A few yellows. Blues? Okay. The greens? A lot of greens in here. That's kind of interesting. So I saw successful people in every color group. So that was kind of a cool thing. I was just thinking about it. I couldn't figure out how to do the dots, so probably retarded is we should add another group in there. But I was a 50 yellow and 38 on the red, and then the evenly split almost between the blue and the green. So kind of fun. We are a couple of things. So let me take care of some stuff before Matt steps on. Will you plug randallwall.com, please? Is Jeff Brady up here? Say hi. How you doing, Jeff? Out there. So I want to do a couple of things here. First thing is, we do not, Jeff, tell us who we endorse and who we don't endorse as club members.
Nobody.
We don't endorse anybody, okay? We don't endorse me, I'm not endorsing Jeff. I like Jeff, personally, I would do business with him. He's a great guy, but as a club member, we're not endorsing anybody. And we bring this up because, and then go ahead and blank that for just a quick second, will you? Can you blank that for just when I was, yeah, so we're not hold up in just a second. Thanks, Jason. So we've had some issues in the past. This has not been a common, but it's common enough. Where we've had leaders in our club, other members of the, presidents, vice presidents, board members, etc., that have, how do we say, gone astray. Maybe the compass started pointing in a little different direction than we'd like it to see. And so this is something that's really important, is that you want to do your due diligence and always be very careful. Be especially careful of anybody that's holding a microphone. When somebody's holding a microphone, what does that create, Jeff? If I'm up here teaching people, what am I doing?
Authority or of legitimacy.
Yeah, it's almost like a fiduciary. I mean, there, could you make an argument like it's a fiduciary duty? Like if you come into my class and I'm, teaching you all these different things, and I borrow money from you and abuse you. What would you say?
If you're in a position of authority or control over somebody else through your experience or even through a contractual relationship, you're a fiduciary with them, and you should be very, very careful about doing business with them without at least approval of a third party.
Okay. So you just heard it from Jeff, our attorney. He is, you're our attorney. Yay! You heard it, he's a lawyer. So really important, be really careful about that, because most people can't afford to lose money. None of us can. So be really, really careful. We have a few people, what typically happens is that somebody will, they'll come, they'll be very outgoing, they'll, teach, they'll have some knowledge, etc. They'll share that knowledge. And we're all thinking that things are going well, and the next thing I hear is I get a phone call from somebody like Jeff, who will say, hey, I've had 3 or 4 people talk to me, this has gone on, they're losing money, to this person that's teaching classes or whatever else. And so it becomes an issue. We try to deal with that. if you find that there's anything that doesn't seem copacetic, please talk to somebody on the board. You got Matt Snade, myself, Randall Wall. Come talk to any of us. You know, we really want, I mean, I'm a yellow. I care more about you guys doing well than I do about anything else. You know, and it's really important. There's been a couple of times over the years where I was getting a little tired thinking, God, I've done this for like 8 years now. You know, I'd like to just sit in the audience and kind of watch, you know, stuff go on, but there's been a reason I'm still here, I guess. And it's kind of my job is to oversee that things are done well, in good order, and with integrity, which is really important. So that's one thing. Second thing is we are going to move our bus tour to August. We'll give you an August date, and the reason is that the SLREIA set up their bus tour this month. It was it's tomorrow, or this weekend, Saturday. Yeah, it's what?
Matt's personal.
Okay, Matt Atkins. All right. So I've had several people say, Randall, is this yours? I signed up for it. I'll see you Saturday. No, it is not mine. It is not ours. The Salt Lake Real Estate Investor Association, we did the first one. We, you know, I guess set the stage or, you know, something like that for everybody else. We'll be doing that in August. We will be putting it on and covering remodeling, investing in real estate, actually kind of a wide variety of topics. I think it's probably the best one, just mostly because I don't know anything else than 500 flips or remodels like we have. But anyway, it'd be good. We'll be putting that out for August. It just makes it easier if we don't have one following another one 1 month apart. It's just not a good thing. Any questions? That's all I have. Oh, good. Okay, and Matt, you're about ready? Yep. So before Matt gets up here, which I'm almost got you, how do I get that back up?
Well, we're going to go off this because
I need to pull off the I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So tomorrow night, Jeff and I, if you go to this website, which is, I just have it, basically it's randallwall.com, pretty simple. We're going to do a webinar from 6 to 7 on investing, how to work with investors, buyers, sellers, some of the documentation, some of the ways you want to keep yourself safe, how to work with people and make it work for you and make money at it. These are some of the basic building blocks of being a successful investor. And as an investor who's I've done over 1,000 transactions, by the way. I am always learning something new. And if you think you've learned it all, then you should go back to 101 and take a look again. But this is really important if you're getting started in real estate. It's important if you're in real estate, because a lot of times what will happen is we'll go along and we're running along, we're doing deals, we're getting successful, we're closing, we're making money. And what happens, Matt? Lose sight, and those systems and those checklists you have, oh, I don't need that, I'm too good for this. You know, I can figure this out. You know? It happens. So a few years ago, we had a former president here, Tom Lakey, I'll say his name, everybody knows him, but basically he was here and I'd done maybe 4 or 5 deals with him. I lent him money. And I usually have a very specific procedure that I go through, especially if I'm using anybody else's money. I'm really nitpicky about, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and following the checklist. But heck, this was my money. So what did I do? I skipped on down the road and lent Tom $300,000 on something that didn't really exist, and it was not secured. And what happened to my $300,000? Gone. And so that's really important. So that's why it's important to keep, once you set a habit, you know, get something, make it a habit, and keep touching on those things. Keep touching on the basics. Keep the basics strong. Because it really is easy, because you pretty much, like anymore, I walk in the house, Matt walks in the house, it's like, 50 grand here, 20 grand there, okay, good, you know, this is what it's going to be. This is where we're at. You know, this is, we could do this deal without, looking at anything. Now, I have done more remodels than any investor that I know of in Utah, and probably more than most anywhere. And do you think I ever make mistakes? Yeah. So I stopped going off my checklist, trotted around this house, bought it, went into it, figured out it only had a 120 volt electrical. Not a huge thing, but probably $3,000 worth of work there. Happens. That's why checklists, systems, following things that we know work is a good thing. So I just trotted around and didn't worry about anything. So really important. All right, now we're going to have what's going to be the most exciting thing for me. So if you want to attend this, go to this website, randallwall.com, click there, and you'll be able to join the webinar. And I think we can probably take that down, Matt. Matt is going to show us some real-life closing techniques. So what we want to do is be somewhat quiet so that Matt can work his mojo. And he's going to talk to us about how he closes and give us an example of some closing.
Alright guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some live calls. We got a couple that are a little bit warm that called in a couple days ago, and then do some cold calls off of KSL that we just kind of cherry picked. So I kind of dive into what the purpose of these calls are. Michelle's kind of that, what I would say, outside salesperson. She's going out to the properties after they've called in, responded to your marketing, whether you're collecting leads off the internet, through KSL, Craigslist, that kind of stuff, or actually actively marketing to these people, whether it's pay-per-click ads on the internet, postcards in the mail, yellow letters, whatever you do to send out marketing to get leads to come in. When they come in, there's a different way that they can come in, whether you're having to go to a voicemail and leave a message and then following back up with those people, having what we call like a bat phone, where when you're in the office you're answering it live and answering it right away, which is usually the best way to do it if you have the time. If you're part-time or busy, or you have another job maybe, you won't always be available to take that call right away, so you send it to voicemail. For us, we have a voicemail set up during off hours, and then when we're in the office, we have an inside salesperson that takes all the calls if he can, but if he's busy, it only rings twice. So if he doesn't get to it right away, it's going directly to voicemail. So if he's on another call, or busy, or we're in a meeting, there's always something there to catch that lead so that that we can follow up with them. The best way to set that up is having like a voicemail system. There's a bunch of them out there: Freedom Voice, Callfire, Ring Central, all these different voicemail systems that are pretty much virtual and then forward to your cell phone. So that's how we have it set up. At the very basic level, you could just set up a Google Voice account if it's just your one-man show. Set up a Google Voice account so you have like a kind of a vanity number, or it's not your own personal cell phone number on all your marketing. Ideally, you want to buy a phone number. We bought a phone number 8 years ago. We're still using that phone number today, and you'll still get trickling calls off that number. So if you're doing outbound marketing, don't switch it up too much as far as that. We have a lot of numbers now because we track our marketing on different phone numbers, but we have one main phone number that if we slow down or speed up or whatever, we always keep that number no matter what. And then depending on if TJ, who's our outside sales guy, and he used to be inside, he moved up and we promoted him, we just forward it to the new guy's cell phone. So it's pretty easy to switch people in and out. So having that good setup so you're positioned for growth is a good idea. And will save you a lot of trouble, kind of thinking ahead a little bit. But that's how we're set up. So let's get into kind of sales technique and what the point of the call is. When you get someone that calls into your marketing, you want to accomplish a couple things. You want to determine what their motivation level is and get their hot buttons. Figure out a price and get them to say a price first. Obviously get all the property information as well. And then take really, really good notes, especially if there's a different guy taking the calls and then another guy going out to the appointments. I think Andy set up the same way. You guys have someone inside taking the calls and doing that all day long, because as you start to grow and grow, you're going to have calls coming in a lot of calls. So you can't have someone do both jobs. So same setup with us, have someone inside taking those calls, and then someone going out to those appointments. So taking really good notes on that, so that when it gets handed off to TJ and teed up for him, he is on the same exact page like he was on that phone call. If you don't, it's like he's got to go recap and spend all this time to get caught up on where it is. So this is kind of, if you're just taking the call, obviously you know what happened on the call. So it's a little bit different as far as if you're a one-man show and then you start to gear up. That's why I'm kind of giving you both pictures so you can kind of get an idea. Because growth is kind of a picture here, I hope. Well, how many of you guys are here to just stay a one-man show the whole time? Anybody? That's cool if you are. Yeah? See? And it's good. I know a lot of people that are, and it's controlled and steady, and it works out. It's kind of a hobby. And but if you really want to turn it into a business, you're interested in growth, that forward thinking to have it set up that way where you can roll into it's a good idea. The other point of the call initially is to figure out like what's the main reason for selling. That's what a hot button is. I said hot button, but I didn't start explaining what that is. Everybody has the reason they're responding to your marketing is they have a reason that they're selling. Whether it's divorce, bankruptcy, they inherited the property, they haven't paid their taxes on it. There's a million reasons under the sun. Like a funny one that we had is a lady was trying to, it's happened a couple times actually, was trying to sell her house, but couldn't sell it she wanted to sell it for a low price, try and get around the divorce decree, because if she sold it for a high price, then she'd have to share the money with her husband, and she hated her husband and wanted to screw him over. You just get all these crazy stories, and it's like, well, okay, we'll work with you, but it's a fine line about being ethical and doing the right thing, and also helping someone out. So we ended up not doing anything with her because it just was kind of getting crazy. But you'll see everything under the sun. But when you get that hot button, you kind of press on it a little bit and figure out and get the lowest price. So on the phone call, you want to ask certain questions. If we have a script, and really sticking to a script and having a script that's good, but sticking to it, and you're going to jump around. It's kind of a dance on the phone. You're not going to just be a robot and just ask questions. You're going to be really conversational. Having a good phone personality is a big deal because, like Michelle had mentioned, we've had people sell us houses for less money than another guy that made an offer because they liked us more. And so if they like you on the phone and they like you when you go out to the house, you're going to close more deals. So having a good phone personality, being energetic, well, not necessarily energetic, but matching, personality matching, when you're on the phone with them, and you can kind of mirror who they are, because people tend to like people that are like them. So as you start to get into conversation, and identifying as quickly as possible what personality, red, blue, green, yellow they are, start to mirror those qualities. Even having that kind of sheet in front of you is a good idea to do, so that you can start to pick out little qualities, things they say. It's just the little things, and then you just start to mimic that as well. So, what else?
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
do you have any specific questions that you would ask to help?
Yeah, so we can go over, give the script printed out, check it out. Okay. Yeah, I can go over some of the questions that we have. Let me pull it up here, I'm sure it's in there.
I can.
Yeah.
When these guys are calling in, or if you guys are prospecting, they're not a client yet or anything, they're a suspect. You suspect that it might be an opportunity for you, right? And when it's just you and you're a one-man show, you really have to be conscious of your time and your effort. So what you really want to do when I make these calls, I'm really qualifying them. I want to qualify them to find out if they are motivated, if they are, or if they're just kind of shopping around. Sometimes people are just trying to price shop me on the lowest number just to see how serious they are sometimes. But you really want to qualify them to know that you have an opportunity, therefore you can take that next step, like Michelle did, saying you can go, test your skills out, smile, win them over, and win that contract. So this is really step one. The heavy lifting really happens on the phone, and so gathering the right information and hinting to certain levels of. I think your question was what key questions do you ask? Is that what you're asking?
Figure out what the personality is.
I don't necessarily ask too many questions about figuring out the personality. The personality, you ask your questions from the script, but it's how they're responding necessarily is how you identify that personality.
Tone.
Yeah, their tone. Are they going into great detail and saying like this long story? You ask how many bedrooms and bathrooms it has, and they go, well, it had 4, but now it has 3 because my mom really wanted a bigger bedroom, and so she knocked the wall down, but she never finished. She goes into this big long story. You got like a detail-oriented person. It's like those types of things. It's the same questions every time, but it's how they respond. Okay? A little script, I guess. So the script, I'll just go over some of the stuff that we do that kind of stick out. We start off, it's got the name, the date, we put the address on there. Those are the key things that we get up front. Their phone number in case it gets disconnected. Usually we have their phone number because they left a voicemail or whatever, but verify it because ours go through a VA system. So virtual assistants listen to the calls entered into the CRM for us, and then they're sitting there waiting for us to call back, but they may have misheard things. So you want to verify address, phone number, all that kind of stuff. If it was left on a voicemail, sometimes it just wasn't clear. We start out the call, it's just, hey, I was getting back to you about the call that you called us about a house that you have to sell. We always go off and start off with just, it sounds like I caught you in the middle of something. Usually it's like permission based. It's like, is now a good time to talk? You don't want to just dive right into it because you want to set the tone and start to get yeses out of them. And once you get those yeses, they get in that mood of kind of opening up instead of being shut down and on the defensive. So we just say, can you tell me a little bit about the property? Sometimes they'll go into great detail, other times they won't even know how to answer it. So we say, well, are you renting it? How long have you owned it? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, that type of stuff. Do you have a current mortgage on the property? How much is it? What do you think the property's worth? All these type of questions. So, and a lot of the times when we have these calls back, we'll be looking up some of this information online or have some of the property profile information prepped, and you can tell how they answer. What do you think the property's worth? That's how motivated they are. Some guys are like, well, you sent me the letter. You tell me. I want an offer right now. And you're like, I haven't seen your house. I don't even know anything about it. I need to take control. So TJ's really good at that, about gaining back the control, but listening well as well. Because if you get these hard asses on the phone that are kind of pissed off maybe to begin with, it's really an art to get them to bring their barrier down. I mean, the bottom line is, even when they're pissed, they still called you. So it's like, how are you going to deal with that, right? So you don't just give up on it and say, oh, this guy's just a mean old man that's trying to get top value. That happens, but still call. So you don't want to discount it necessarily. How soon would you like to sell? That's going to tell the motivation level. ASAP. Just whenever. If I get the right price, I will. Then we just mark the motivation level. A good question to ask is, would you like to email me an offer? Because otherwise, if you try and get an email address out of them, they're going to be very hesitant. Like I said, if I have an offer for you, would you like me to email it to you? Yeah, okay, what's your email address? So just, little tricks and workarounds to get information out of them is the key. So let's just dive into the call. Let's test it out on we have no idea we haven't tested this yet, so we're going to test it on my cell phone to make sure it works real quick. We're having TJ do the call because he's the man. I'm not the expert at everything. And Randall said, oh, Matt, just call him about let's have the other guy do it, he's a master at it. So we hired him because he's the bomb at it.
Good.
I started inside and moved outside, but so his personality, his profile is flat across the board, which is really good for he can do both, and also he's good at matching people's personalities as well.
Hello.
Hi, is this Denise?
Yes, it is.
Denise, hi, this is Tim with the Move Group.
With the what?
The Move Real Estate Group, just responding to your phone call that you left us a few days ago about your home over there.
I couldn't figure out who it was.
It's okay. It's all right. How are you doing tonight, Denise? sorry to call you so late. You're going to be my last call for the day. Do you have a few minutes to talk?
No, can I have you call me back in about an hour?
About an hour?
This is okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can give you a call back, please.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, perfect. I mean, the exact reason why we do that, ask for permission, because if you kind of just dive into it, then she's going to feel uncomfortable and she's going to have to cut you off. So, perfect example, at least on that. So after each call, we'll just kind of go over it, what worked, what didn't work, why do we say certain things, that kind of stuff.
You should have asked for the school.
Probably what you wanted.
All right. Hey Jill, this is Tim with the Move Real Estate Group. How are you doing tonight? Good. Hey, I'm following up with you about your voicemail you left us. Looks like you received one of our flyers, is that right? I'm sorry, say again?
I've already talked to somebody.
You did. I spoke to one of my inside sales guys. I wanted to verify the information that we had. Is this a good time to talk, Jill? Okay, well, again, I wanted to look into getting some more information about your home over there in Cherry Blossom. Could you tell me a little bit about your property? Just the basic stuff, like how many bedrooms, how many baths, how long you've owned it, and things like that.
Yeah, it's 2 baths. Probably something that was 2008.
2008, great. How many square feet did you say it had?
And that's what I was looking for, hold on for just a minute, okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you find out? Hold on.
Okay. You guys hear that okay? What's this now? Jill, you there?
I think you call me back in about 5 minutes, and then I'll have all of it.
You'll have all the information? Okay, we'll call you right back. Thanks, Jill. So it's a little bit tricky because it's like 7 o'clock at night, and people are eating dinner while watching games. I'll just talk a little bit about some of my experience on the phone. You guys hear me okay? So I think, like Michelle said, almost every job that you get into, there's there's some level of salesmanship involved. And I come from some pretty aggressive sales jobs and industries where I had to make like 100 phone calls in a day. 100 phone calls in a day, you have to hit X amount of margin per week. And so there are metrics where, you are trained to be a phone ninja. You're having to handle all sorts of different personality types, handling objections on the fly, and being able to close the deal on the phone. And if you can really close the deal on the phone without having to travel, all the way across the valley and stuff, you've won half the battle. Some of the questions that I actually asked towards the end, and you ask something like, "When are you looking to sell?" That's important because, again, you get that motivation. But then you ask them, "Okay, what do you think your house is worth?" And then they'll tell you, and you ask them why. I ask them why because I want to know if it's, if they got that from an appraiser, because that's what they think the houses are selling for in the neighborhood, so that really doesn't matter. They actually work with a realtor that they just done. Or, they'll tell you, again, when you ask the right questions, they'll tell you all that you need to know. And then I ask them at the very end, I ask them, "Okay, well, Jill, I'll ask her this. You told me your house is worth, you think your house is worth $180,000, right? Knowing that I'm going to buy this home in cash, I can close quickly and I'm going to cover the closing costs. What are you willing to sell your house to me for? And then she'll give me a number. If she says something like, I don't know, you tell me. I'm like, Jill, I don't want to waste your time. I talk to a lot of people during the day and I look at a lot of different houses. You'd really be doing me a favor if you just help me help you. So I really don't like to do this thing where they push me around. I like to get pretty exact because that makes, again, I don't want to try to chase this person down and spend another half an hour or 45 minutes or go all the way out there and know that they're just going to burn me anyway, right? I like to know that this person is willing to work with me and that, give them a fair price, that they would be willing to move if the numbers work. And then I would ask her again at the very end. Once I ask her, okay, so you'd be willing to sell this to me at $150? And then she says yes. And I ask her another hard question. I said, okay, Jill, is that the best you can do? And you shut up.
So that question there, yes, will get you like $10,000, $15,000 sometimes. Just and like you said, shut up. They may sit there and be silent for 15 seconds, 20 seconds, but the first person to talk to, so yes.
On the phone, silence is used, again, I was trained this a long time ago, silence can be used as, it's a technique. It means you're thinking, you're letting them process what you just said, you're thinking about what you're going to say next. And when you ask them a hard question like that, they feel kind of, like they have to say something because they feel like they've insulted you in some way. I don't know. But don't be afraid to ask the hard questions because that's going to get you the win and get you a lot further along in the sales process. Again, if you just qualify them over the phone before you rush from the bottom and down there and do the song dance. 5 minutes, you think?
That is
Okay, give me a minute.
All right, you got it, Jill. We'll call it back.
Okay, thanks, bye.
All right, so that's those two were the ones we had from our marketing. We're going to a cold call now, which is a little bit different. They're valuable to do, especially if you do hire somebody or you're bored. If you don't have anything else, you don't have any other calls coming in, you need something to do, especially when you hire somebody. Having them go and do outbound calling now is a good way to fill out time and also just get some experience with cold people. It's totally, we didn't have the warm people on yet. We'll hopefully get around to at least one of them. But you can tell the difference of a lead, of a difference of a cold lead versus a warm.
So, I'm going to get, just like some of you guys, I'm sure you have access to for sale by owners. And general rule of thumb, these guys are beat up. I mean, their phones are getting blown up by investors, other agents trying to get them listed. So their defenses are a lot higher than people that are proactively calling you. And so you have to spend a little bit more time forcing them, getting them to drop their guard a little bit. You may want to ask some more personal questions right away. Like, I'm not going to ask them how many square feet, how many bedrooms the house is unless they want to tell me. I might just verify that with them really quick, just to get them talking. But I want to get to the motivation level and ask them why they have it listed. Maybe kind of work on a more personal level with these guys, because again, so many people are beating them up for their business. So let's see how this goes.
And it's like you said, you don't want them to think you're dumb because you're asking the questions that were already in the ad. So be smart about it and put yourself in their shoes. All that stuff's already there. So read the ad. Make sure you're not asking stuff that's already there.
So I'm going to shoot from the hip, just so you guys know. Here's my script. Hi, can I speak to John, please?
Yes, can I tell you something?
Yeah, this is Tim from the Move Real Estate Group.
Let me give you the available.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, he's at some company right now. Can I take a message?
Yeah, let them know that the Move group gave them a call. We're a group of investors interested in the property that you guys have.
Okay.
Is there a better time? Maybe I could give them a call, maybe tomorrow, or...
No, I think he's only going to be another half hour, maybe an hour. If you wanted to try that, or tomorrow, probably, I would say about 11.
Well, are you Mrs. John?
Yeah. Hang on, just one second.
Hello. Hello? Hey, John, this is Tim from the Move Group. How are you doing? Good, how are you? I'm doing well, sir. I'm following up on your KSL ad about the property that you guys have for sale. Okay. Just want to let you know, I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls, John. I'm not an agent, so I'm not trying to list your home. I want to actually buy it. Sorry, I just porky pig that. Yes. Okay, so you really don't want to buy it. Why is that, John? Honestly, I know what my property's worth. I got a CMA on it. I have my title research done on it. I have my appraisal done on it. I know what every penny of that house is worth. Okay. And I'm not going to let it go for a flipping price. That's fair enough, John. You know what? I'm not asking you to drop anything yet. I'm just trying to get some information. So, I mean, why do you guys currently live in this home, or are you guys renting it? I own the house, and it's currently sitting empty. It's empty, okay. Yes, I live in Chambersville, and the house doesn't solve. Okay. Again, to verify what I have here. House is owned in clear. It has a $10,000 lien on it from Social Security. Okay. And I didn't pay last year's tax on it. So, right now, about $10,100 I don't know, $11,200 where I'm at on it as part of the debt. Okay. Upon selling it, I will pay the $10,000 lien. I'll write it up in the contract. That I will pay the $10,000 lien to Social Security, and I will pay the $1,200 taxes that I want. Okay. So if we got you close to your asking price, it sounds like you'd be willing to let this thing go pretty quick then, right? Yeah, I would. And if I was to send someone over there, if I went out there myself, could you make yourself available to maybe walk us through the property a little bit? Oh yeah, no problem. Awesome, John. Okay, well, it sounds like you're pretty motivated. I am interested in that area. Why don't I do this? What time are you available tomorrow, John? Anytime. things up. So I'll give you a call maybe just before noon, we can set up a time to go out there.
Okay.
Good deal. All right, John, thank you so much for your time. I will talk to you tomorrow morning.
All righty, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye.
And so, just kind of review that. So, pretty standard for a TSL call, guard up, just like we said. And then just kind of ask questions to get his guard down. But it is funny because he comes right out and he says kind of his motivating point. So, the good thing is, you know, it sounds like they're tight for cash, even though they've got that thing free and clear. He's not paying his taxes, probably because they're tight for cash. Sell the home, pay off the taxes, good to go. So it's more of a burden for him. He's not living in it. It sounds like it's vacant, so it's, you know, there's no tenants. But you know, as far as coaching on that, maybe diving into what the condition the property is in, and kind of get more of that, because we have the basic information of bedroom, bathroom, square footage. But what about what kind of condition that property's in to find out more of the motivating factors? The other red flag that popped up for me was owning the house free and clear. So a lot of people, like we're working on a deal right now that's it's an unlisted property, but the agent said, "Oh, we've got, you know, we've got 4 offers over the past few weeks from investors, but my seller needs to be at this price." And she's calling me after I already sent her an offer. And I look up on county records and see that they had like a $110,000 mortgage back in '97, probably paid off by now. So I said, well, would your seller be interested in seller financing, because we may be able to meet that price. I mean, the home needs a lot of work, but we may be able to meet that price if they can do seller financing for a good chunk of the price. And she goes, that's a good question. I don't know. I haven't asked my seller, which means none of the other investors that made offers asked for that question. I'd ask the same thing to this guy, because real estate's about price or terms, okay? So if I can pay a higher price if I have better terms. Good terms are seller financing with low interest rate, low payments, spread over time, because then we don't have to come up with as much cash. I don't have to go get hard money, pay points, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the seller financing we get is from the actual seller is between 5 and 8%, where your hard money is going to be like 12 to 15%. So it saves a lot, okay? So just because he wants top dollar, what he thinks top dollar is, doesn't mean it's not a deal, especially if it's pretty clear. So I would, as his guard comes down, dive into that. What else?
I had a real human moment on there, right? I was sitting there trying to read and ask him a question at the same time, and I was like, I really did work a big bad. And I apologized, and I said that, right? So I'm not a robot, and people, when we talk about being able to relate to other people, do it. Make a mistake. Ask a dumb question sometimes, laugh, like put a joke in there. And people will respond to that in kind, usually. You're not going to be like, you're an idiot, you just mumble. So again, don't be afraid. Like, I saw all your guys' faces when that guy just blew up on me. What would you guys have done? I wanted to push through, I wanted to win. So I looked at him, I was like, I'm going to push through as far as I can.
I would justify it a little bit by saying, so what do you think it's worth?
Yeah.
And you say that's based on what? Flavor?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit nerve-wracking up here in front of everybody and not prepping for it. So let's prep for the next one. Just kind of read through it. Because here's the thing. As he's reading through that to prep for it, when you're trying to do 2 things at once, you're not present on the phone call. Okay. And whether you're in person or on the phone, you can tell if somebody's present or not. And when I say present, like really being there with the person, listening to them intently. If you're trying to read the ad and listen to them, you're not going to necessarily be able to identify their personality and try and get that guard down. So TJ was reading and trying to listen, ended up mumbling over his words a little bit. So, read everything, be prepped, kind of take a deep breath, and then get into the call.
Anyone want to come up here and try?
Pretty good, actually. Anyone have any questions so far?
Good job for sticking.
Yeah, what's up?
Silly question, but
Yeah.
Is that one on West Temple about 1800 South? I think I talked to that guy yesterday. House saw a sign.
I don't know. Where's that? I think that was in Mill Street, this one.
West Temple, what is his voice and his attitude, and when he said $10,000, like, oh yeah, I talked to him.
Yeah.
What's the price on that? I'm curious.
He's asking 210.
He told me 200.
I'll get it.
Who else had a question? Anyone else?
Is there a better time of day to call, morning,
We always ask, you know, on the initial one, what's the best time to reach them? I mean, it's different for everybody. I'd be surprised. Your common thought is everyone works, you know, during the day, that kind of stuff. But actually, a lot of these people don't have jobs, so they're home a lot. And, you know, I was always, when I started getting into the business, and you truly see how people live in different, you know, you become very well-rounded person because you see a lot of different types of people. But you can never necessarily assume. But I would say the best time to call is usually, you know this.
So I would do a message in the morning and then call again in the afternoon if I didn't have a response back. Like 2 calls a day, just 1 message a day. I don't harass them. There's, you know, I let them know that you're aware of them and that you're interested.
Okay, so
Joanna sounds nice. Hi, is this Joanna? Joanna, hi, this is Tim from the Move Real Estate Group. I'm calling about your ad. Looks like you're selling your home over there in Salt Lake, in the Canyon, right?
Yes.
I know it's kind of late for my last call for the night. Do you have a few minutes to talk?
Well, it depends which one comes back.
Well, again, just wanted to talk a little bit about your home. I've got some details already, obviously, from the ad, but I wanted to see, you know, kind of what's motivating you guys to sell and, you know, how long you guys have had your home. Could you tell me a little bit about your house?
I don't know what to tell you what those things I had. We've lived here for 35 years, and we're moving out here. It's going a little bit warmer.
Okay, someplace warmer. Where do you guys want to move to?
We're moving to Nevada.
Nevada, okay. Well, Joanna, I'm not a real estate agent. I buy homes for cash and wanted to see if we could, you know, work something out. But so you guys are looking to move. How soon are you guys looking to move?
Oh, not until August, September.
August or
Sometimes
September.
that we're having, not me, but my daughter is having a baby tomorrow, and we want to be around for that for a few months
Gotcha.
before we leave. We're not in a hurry to
Great, that's great news. You made it, so it's fun. Well, tell me this, Joanna. Could you tell me a little bit about the condition of the home? Have you guys remodeled the house? Have you had anything?
Yeah, I think the ad speaks for itself. We had the kitchen remodeled in 1984, and they did a bad job, and everything has been kind of falling apart around us. We have saved up money to redo the house, but now we're older, the husband's retiring, and we decided to get out of here. Yeah, we don't want to be bothered doing anything to the house. We just want to leave.
You guys just want to leave it? Yeah. Are you guys, so you guys have lived in the home for 30 plus years. You guys own it free and clear?
No, we did. One, yeah, no, we're child support.
Okay.
Just get married, you will, like, let's take out the equity, let's take out the equity, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, real big, we need to get that chunk out.
What do you guys owe, if I'm not asking?
We owe 240.
Okay. Let's see here. Well, Joanna, again, it sounds like you guys have a lovely house. I mean, from what I'm reading here, you guys aren't really looking to sell until the fall, it sounded like. If we came up with an offer close to your asking price or something that made sense for you guys, would you guys be willing to bump that move date a little sooner?
We'd be willing to go live with our kids until we feel like moving.
Okay. Okay. Do you guys currently live in the house now?
Yes.
You, okay.
Yes. We've discussed a lot of options on it, and we decided to if something reasonable came up for us, we would be willing to work around it and so stay with your kids or maybe just rent something, like a what do you call it? Kids stay first and run a couple of months.
Well, Joanna, really quickly, how did you guys come to your asking price of $259?
Well, we used to get what we owed, plus a little bit extra, because we don't want to just walk away crazy for everyone to have a little extra in our money. Since my husband's retiring and, they have a fixed income, we want something in the bank besides your taking.
Sure. Well, Joanna, like I told you, I'm an investor. I'm going to buy these homes cash and close quickly. I'm not an agent, so you wouldn't have to pay any fees. If I was to cover your closing costs and things like that, what is the best price you guys would be willing to let your home go for?
The best price, the lowest price?
Yes, ma'am.
We would need at least 240.
At least 240.
Yeah, we need to at least pay it off, So we owe a loan that would be next personal loan to come down.
Okay, great.
So we owe them the extra money that we don't owe the bank. So that's what the 240 is.
Gotcha.
So we would have to pay them back. That was part of the, if you send the money, you have to do it back to the if you sell the house.
Okay. Joanna, again, I'm interested in possibly taking a look at your home. Are you going to be available tomorrow? Possibly kind of show us around?
No, actually, nobody will be here until
Okay.
my daughter is having a baby and we're watching her kids probably at our house and just until she comes home. She's on Thursday, she's home until Saturday.
You know what, Joanna? I mean, it sounds like you guys have a lot going on with that.
I hate to be on hold with you right this minute, but that's where it stands right now. I can't promise anything.
I understand.
Exactly. And then, heaven forbid, but you never know how things like that can work out. Anyway, I mean, the same thing.
Right. Well, why don't we do this? Joanna, I will I'll hold on to your information. Again, I'm interested in the property. I will give you a call sometime early next week and see where we're at and see if we can't set up a time for us to walk the property and be with you face to face. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good. I just want to have, and I'd like to take your name from the girl.
Absolutely. Let me know when you're ready.
And me.
My name is Tim Jones. My number is 801-633-8255.
4512.
Kim Jones, 801-633-4512.
And let me give you our website. It's themovegroup.com, TheMoveGroup.com.
Okay. Say that again.
Group, Group, the Move Group. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Joanna, thank you so much. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yeah, I'm glad to follow this. Do come back, we'll have ourselves back together again, I'm sure, by Monday or Tuesday.
That's awesome. Well, again, congratulations on the new baby, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Alright, so let's go over that one. Alright, so her personality, more laid back, that's the type of thing, like Monica mentioned as well, is follow-up. Like, that's going to be a type of person and personality that you want to, like, you set up and follow up with you next week, is like make a specific time and appointment and stick to it, because it's going to build that over time and create trust. And if you say you're going to do something at a certain time and then you do it, a lot of people don't do that, and you'll stand out in the crowd if you do. One other thing I forgot to tell Tim on the first one, especially with these cold calls, the warm ones, he starts off and gets some credibility. Our logo, our name is already on the marketing piece they're getting, so it's establishing that connection, that credibility, kind of recollects who he's talking to. But I actually think it's probably a negative on the cold calls, because it sounds like a real estate company, it sounds like an agent, which is why the first guy said, I can't remember what he said, but she said, depends on what you want to talk about. It's like, are you an agent trying to list a property? So I would just go in with Tim. I'm a regular person off the street calling about your property and dive into it. Tim, you did a good job of talking about the personal stuff, even diving even deeper into that. I mentioned, you know, if it were me, I have a little bit different situation. Like, my sister just had a kid, so I kind of go into that and start talking less about the house, especially with her personality type, and go more into the personal stuff. Because she's going to let her guard down, she's going to relate with you, it's that mirroring. So, what do you want to cover on that?
That quite sounds an interesting thing, though, if you listen to the difference between, you know, there's a guy who has a ballistic on you, and you matched him straight out of the box.
Yeah.
You know, and then walking down, and then this last lady was like, hey, you know, it's kind of along, and you know, you sound like you gave it down.
Yeah.
You know, and you spoke very slowly, clearly.
Yeah, match that pace with her, and as the call went along, it kind of went better, but it tells you she's building that relationship, which would be a good point. So, yeah.
So on those cold calls, are you only going to talk about cash, or would you mention the idea of terms?
Yeah, and I would mention that. That's why I coached him on the first one to go into the terms of this one. There's no point really, because she's asking $259 on the ad. I should have kind of prepped you guys and given you all the details about the ad before even the call. But $259 on the ad, she owes $240. There's not much room to play in there, because they already owned it.